The storm raged like an angry beast over the Nigerian coast. Lightning tore across the sky as the Billionaire's jet dipped violently, alarms screaming in the cockpit. Ethan Grayson's knuckles whitened on the armrest. He was used to controlling everything, markets, mergers, and men, but not nature. "Sir, we need to turn back," the pilot shouted over the roaring engines. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Do it." But the words came too late. A blinding flash split the heavens, and the world went white. When he opened his eyes again, there was no plane, no pilot, no sound, only the gentle rush of a river and the smell of earth after rain. His designer suit was torn, and mud clung to his skin. He struggled to stand, his head throbbing. "Hello," he yelled into the mist. No answer, only the rustle of leaves and distant drums. Then she appeared, a woman dressed in white, beads glimmering against dark skin, eyes deep and unreadable. Her voice was low and melodic. "The gods have delivered you to us." Ethan blinked, dazed. "Who are you? What is this place?" "I am Amara," she said, "priestess of Oshun, guardian of the sacred river." He tried to laugh, but his throat was dry. "Look, I don't know who put you up to this, but I need a phone. I have a company, people are looking for me." Amara tilted her head, unamused. "The river does not care for your company. You live because Oshun wills it." He took a shaky step back. "You're insane." She turned away calmly. "Then leave, but you will find no path that leads away from here." He watched her disappear into the trees. Hours later, after walking in circles until exhaustion crushed him, Ethan stumbled upon the same riverbank. Same hut, same woman. She was waiting, like she knew he'd come back. "You mock the gods," she said softly, "but you are trapped in their domain." He glared. "Fine, you want me to believe in magic, prove it." She looked toward the sky, whispered a chant, and the drums stopped. The forest went still. The river shimmered gold under the moonlight. Ethan's breath caught. "What did you just do?" he whispered. "The goddess listens when I speak," Amara said, her voice tinged with something sad. "And she has chosen you, foreigner of fire and steel." Ethan frowned. "Chosen me for what?" "To become one with the sacred. You are to be my husband." He froze. "You're what? No, no way, you're out of your mind." Her eyes flashed like molten gold. "Defy the will of the goddess, and death will follow. Not just yours. The river will rise against the villages. The drought will consume the land." He ran a hand through his soaked hair, anger boiling. "I don't believe in your fairy tales." "Belief is not required," she replied, "only obedience." That night, as Ethan lay on a mat inside her small hut, the storm outside screamed again. He could swear he heard whispers in the wind, his name, repeated over and over. "Ethan, Ethan." He jolted upright, heart pounding. The drums started again, distant but rhythmic. He looked through the doorway. Amara was outside, her body swaying as she danced by the river, flames reflecting off her skin. For a brief, unreal moment, he couldn't look away. The next morning, he found her grinding herbs beside a calabash. "Why are you doing this?" he asked quietly. Amara didn't look up. "You would not understand." "Try me." She sighed. "There is a prophecy older than memory. The foreigner made of fire and steel would come to our land. If he refuses the sacred bond, all shall perish. I was chosen to bind him to the goddess." He scoffed. "That's ridiculous." "Perhaps, but you are here, and the forest does not make mistakes." He wanted to argue, but when he looked at her, really looked, he saw something unshakable, her strength, her calm, her beauty. Days passed. He tried to escape again. Each time, the forest turned him around. He would walk east, but end up back at the same river. He stopped fighting eventually. He helped her fetch water. He watched her heal a child's wound with a single prayer and touch, and though he wouldn't admit it, part of him began to soften. One night, sitting by the fire, she asked quietly, "Do you miss your world?" He nodded. "I built everything with my own hands. I was at the top, but now," he looked at his dirt-streaked fingers, "now I can't even tell if this is real." Amara's gaze softened. "The real world is not what you see, it's what you feel." He looked up, met her eyes, and for the first time didn't look away. The next day, he followed her to the river again. She stood knee-deep in the water, chanting softly. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Offering gratitude to Oshun," she said, "for your life." He gave a faint laugh, "Then thank her for trapping me too." She smiled, a small, almost human smile. "You are learning humility." He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Perhaps the goddess brought you here not for her, but for yourself." He didn't reply, but that night, as he lay awake, her words echoed in his head. A few days later, a messenger from the nearby village arrived, sweating and terrified. "Priestess," he cried, "the river runs dry." Amara's face went pale. "It has begun." She turned to Ethan. "You still refuse the bond." "I can't marry you. I don't even know you." She closed her eyes, tears glinting. "Then you will know loss. The curse is upon us." The next morning, dead fish floated on the river. The villagers cried out, begging Amara to act. That night she knelt before the sacred altar, voice trembling. "Oshun, spare them. I will do as you command." When she turned to Ethan, her eyes glowed faintly gold. "The ceremony will be tomorrow." He stared at her. "You're serious?" "Completely." He rubbed his temples, torn between rage and disbelief. "This is insane, Amara." She stepped closer. "The gods are not kind to those who question fate." For a long moment, he said nothing. Then quietly, "And if I say yes?" She hesitated. "Then your life will no longer be yours. You will belong to Oshun and to me." Ethan took a long breath. "Fine, one night, then I'm leaving." "You cannot leave," she whispered, "not once the goddess seals the bond." The ceremony took place under a full moon. The villagers gathered, chanting. Flames danced. Amara stood radiant in white, her eyes bright with both fear and power. Ethan stood opposite her, heart hammering. "Repeat after me," she said, "by the river that gives life." "By the river that gives life," he echoed. "By the goddess who takes it away." He hesitated, then whispered, "By the goddess who takes it away." As she touched his forehead, golden light flared between them. The air pulsed with energy, the river began to shimmer again. The villagers gasped. Ethan's vision blurred. He saw flashes of her past, her prayers, her loneliness. Then darkness swallowed him. When he woke, he was lying beside her in silence, the golden glow fading from the water. Amara looked at him with tired eyes. "It is done." He sat up slowly. "So, now what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she reached out, brushed his cheek, and whispered, "Now the goddess decides." That night, as Ethan finally drifted to sleep beside her, he dreamed of skyscrapers collapsing into rivers of gold, and a voice calling his name, not in anger, but in warning. If this story touched your heart, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell us where you're watching from. When Ethan woke the next morning, the world was quiet. The air smelled of rain and something ancient, something alive. Amara was already by the river, her white robes trailing in the water as she whispered to the goddess. He walked toward her slowly. "So that's it, we are married now." Amara didn't look at him. In the eyes of Oshun, yes, the bond is sealed. He rubbed his temples. "And what does that even mean for me? I can't live here. I have a company, a board, a life waiting." "You had," she corrected softly. "You had those things, but they were never truly yours." Before he could reply, a strange sensation rippled through his body, like heat spreading under his skin. His chest tightened and his knees buckled. He gasped. Amara rushed to him. "Ethan." He grabbed her hand, eyes wide. "What's happening to me?" She pressed a palm over his heart and whispered a chant. The burning eased and his breathing slowed. "The goddess is claiming her part," she said quietly. "Half of your life belongs to her now." He stared at her in disbelief. "You're serious, aren't you?" Amara nodded, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I warned you." Days passed. The villagers celebrated, the drought ended, the river overflowed again. But Ethan felt hollow, restless. At night he dreamed of gold turning to ash, of hands pulling him into the water. He began to miss his world, his office, his city skyline, the sound of traffic instead of drums. One morning, without telling Amara, he left. He walked until he found a road, flagged down a passing truck, and paid the driver with the last thing he had, a diamond ring he used to wear like a badge of pride. By nightfall, he was back in Lagos. The city lights blinded him, but it felt like home. He showered, shaved, called his lawyer, his secretary. The world welcomed him back, almost. Within a week, everything started to fall apart. His company's stock crashed overnight. A scandal broke out, his partner accused him of fraud, his investors vanished, and his name was splashed across every headline. Grayson Tech Empire collapses. Ethan couldn't understand it. Every deal he touched failed. Every meeting ended in chaos. He saw Amara in his dreams, standing by the river, eyes full of sadness. "You cannot run from destiny," she whispered each time. By the 10th night, he couldn't sleep. He boarded a flight back to the same region where his jet had crashed. When he arrived, the villagers looked at him in shock. "She waits for you," an old man said quietly. He found her near the riverbank, pale and weak. The sacred symbols on her arms had begun to fade. "Amara," he breathed, kneeling beside her. She looked up, voice barely a whisper. "You broke the bond. The goddess punishes us both." He grabbed her hands. "Tell me what to do, I'll fix this." Her eyes fluttered shut. "It is too late for fixing." "Don't say that," he snapped, shaking his head. "You saved me once, let me save you now." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You can't, unless you give up everything, your wealth, your name, your freedom. Ocean demands balance." He didn't hesitate. "Then take it all." Amara opened her eyes, staring at him in disbelief. "You would surrender everything you are." "For you," he said quietly, "and for what's right." She smiled faintly, her strength fading. "Then hold me." As he wrapped his arms around her, the sky darkened. Thunder rumbled across the horizon. The river began to glow gold again, brighter and brighter, until it hurt to look. A voice rolled through the air, soft yet powerful. "You disobeyed the will of the goddess, yet you return with love. Do you understand what you ask?" Ethan looked up, heart pounding. "Take my life if you must, just save her." "Love alone cannot rewrite fate," the voice said, "but it can transform it." The river rose, waves licking their feet. Amara gasped as her body lifted, her white robes glowing like fire. Ethan held on tighter. "Ethan," she whispered, "don't let go." "I won't," he said, tears streaming down his face. "I'm not losing you again." The lights swallowed them both. For a heartbeat, the world went silent. Then the river exploded in gold, brighter than the sun, and everything vanished. When the water finally settled, they were gone. Days later, villagers said the drought had ended forever. The crops grew wild, the fish returned in abundance. They built a shrine where the river glowed brightest, calling it the Lover's Rest. Months passed. In Lagos, a new company quietly appeared, Ocean Innovations, funding clean water projects across Africa. No one knew who owned it, but every year, on the same date, anonymous donations flooded hospitals, orphanages, and women's shelters. Rumors spread. Some said Ethan Grayson was alive, hiding in the shadows. Others said the goddess had claimed him fully. One evening, a journalist named Kemi visited the old village for a feature story. As she walked by the river, she heard children laughing. Two of them played by the water, a boy and a girl, both with strange golden eyes. She asked a fisherman nearby, "Who are they?" The man smiled, his wrinkled face kind. "Children of the river, they come and go when the moon is full." Kemi frowned. "Their parents." The old man pointed to the water's edge. "Look closely." She squinted. For a moment she thought she saw them, a man in a white suit, tall and strong, and a woman with carries in her hair, her eyes gentle and proud. They stood hand in hand by the shimmering river, smiling at each other like no time had passed. Then, as quickly as they appeared, they faded into the golden mist. Kemi stepped back, breath caught in her throat. What did I just see? The fisherman shrugged. Some love stories never end, child, they just change form. That night, as the camera crew packed up, Kemi sat by the river, unable to shake what she'd witnessed. The water glowed faintly under the moon, and for a moment, she swore she heard a whisper. Love can defy even the gods. Her heart trembled. She pressed record and began narrating softly to the camera, her voice filled with awe. They say he was a man of money and pride, a billionaire who thought he owned the world. But when fate brought him face to face with a priestess, he learned that love is the only power greater than greed, greater than fear, greater than death itself. The footage faded out on the glowing river, and her final words echoed in the night air. If you believe love can conquer anything, even the gods, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories, and tell us in the comments, would you marry for love or for destiny? The screen dimmed to black. But if you listened closely, beyond the closing music, you could still hear it. The sound of the river, the faint hum of drums, and a woman's soft laughter carried by the wind. Somewhere beyond the veil, Ethan and Amara danced by the golden water, bound not by law or ritual, but by something eternal. Love. And that was how the legend of the billionaire who married an African priestess lived on, forever whispered where rivers meet the sky.